I had just shifted to my new house. Once again, my wife had gone to her parents' house, and I was alone. It was raining heavily that night, a stormy rain. In the news, they had almost warned that we should not leave our house for the next 24 hours. You can say that it was a temporary lockdown. I was sitting on my sofa and watching TV. I was scrolling through my phone and using Instagram, too. I was enjoying a lot. I was alone, but I never imagined what were going to happen to me in the future. This experience was quite scary for me. It started with some noises coming from my house, like someone was checking something, as if it was touching something. At first, I ignored it. I thought it was just my imagination. But as time passed, it was around 10 or 11 in night. These noises started increasing. I realized that there was someone in the house with me. I got up from my sofa. I was a little nervous and scared, but I had the courage. I left my living room and went into the kitchen. Often the kitchen door used to be closed, but that night, the kitchen door was half open. I doubted why the door was half open. I opened the door and went inside. I was shocked. Everything was upside down. The plates were broken. The fridge was open. The food was lying on the floor. As if someone was looking for something. As if someone was here to get something. I got out of the kitchen in search of someone. I climbed up the stairs to my room. I realized that I felt a sudden chill there. I remembered a scene from a horror movie. When the door climbs the stairs, a ghost appears in front of it. But this was not the case. I climbed the stairs and went upstairs. I opened the door. This was my room where I used to play games. As soon as I opened the door, I saw a short man in front of me. He was very fat and fresh. He was looking for something in my cupboard. I asked him what he was doing here. He looked at me. He took out a gun from behind his pants. This was the moment when I saw my death in front of me. If I had done anything wrong, I would have died. I said to him, "Sir, please let me go. If you need anything, I will give you money. But please leave the house." He laughed in a scary and taunting smile. "Now you will throw me out of the house. I will not go from here. You will stay here and I will kill you." When he said this, I was very nervous. Is this my end? I asked myself in mind. I was a little nervous and trembling. When he shake the gun towards me, the point of the gun changed a little, which was not on my side. I took advantage of the opportunity and ran towards him, and I pushed him, and he fell down from my window. The window was near the room, and when I pushed him, he broke the window in the middle of it and fell down from the roof in my backyard. I got courage. I was breathing. I immediately ran down and checked the door again if it was not locked. I went upstairs and called the police. I searched him through the window, but I was surprised when I pushed him and he fell down. Where was he? I know it was dark and I could not see anything, but the way he fell, his bones or legs must have broken, but he must have been injured. But no, he was not found. Then the police searched the whole house and told me that I am safe now. Then I realized that I should never open the door of the house. But that day, all the doors of my house were closed. I also locked the door of my living room. All the rooms were locked. But where did he come from? This thing still gives me tension. It puts me in suspense. How did he come in? I will never be able to forget his face. That strange, old face. That angry, smiling face.
I think this happened when I was 12 years old. You will be shocked to hear my story because this was a real incident. I was very fond of playing games. I already had a small Sony gamepad where I used to play games, but That was not enough for me. Finally, my birthday came. My neighbors and my friends gave me a lot of gifts, and I was very happy. The main thing that made me really happy was the Xbox that my parents had provided me. I was very happy with that Xbox, and I used to start playing games there. As soon as evening came, I took my Xbox and went upstairs to my room and started playing games with my friends. You won't believe why this happened that day. But anyways, my parents went out of town for some work, and I was home alone. I thought, why not continue my games? I went downstairs, took out a slice of pizza, and ate it. I took a cold drink and went upstairs to my room. I put on my headphones and turned up the volume. I could not hear anything. I could only hear my friends talking and the sounds of the games. We were so busy playing games that I did not know what was going to happen around me. Anyways, after a while, when I was playing games, I heard a voice in the middle of the games. Obviously, it was not coming from inside the game. It was coming from outside. I paid attention to it and took off my headphones. I tried to listen to it, but I could not hear anything. I ignored it and continued playing. I sat for a while and the voice came again. The voice sounded like someone was mumbling something. Some words were out of my understanding. I did not pay much attention to it. I thought it was a hallucination and a delusion of my mind. I continued to play games as I do that the voices came again. It was getting louder and louder. A lot of people were mumbling something, like they were saying a spell. I took off my headphones. I told my friends that I did not understand what was happening. They made fun of me and said that we think someone has entered our house. They said this in a funny way. I laughed and said that let's pause the game and let me check from downstairs. I put on my headphones. I got up and went downstairs. As soon as I stepped in the hallway, you will not believe me. In front of me, my neighbor, Mr. Michael, and his 3 friends were standing. They were standing in a circle. The circle was red in color and was surrounding them. They were saying something in the circle. Mr. Michael had a book in his hand. The rest of his 3 friends were holding each of them hands. Mr. Michael was also holding from his left hand and was reading something from a book in his right hand. I did not understand this situation. I asked them what they were doing in my house. You will not believe that Mr. Michael saw me. As soon as he saw me, my whole body started shivering. I was shivering as if I had frozen. I immediately got up and ran to my room. I ran upstairs and locked the room. I told my friends to call the police immediately. They asked me what happened and why I was in such a hurry. I told them to just call the police, that I have not much time to explain them. They did the same. I locked the door. I knew that it was not right to lock the door. I locked the door and hid under the bed. I could hear the footsteps of 4 people coming up the stairs. They were coming running in anger. They all started knocking on the door. Not knocking, they were beating it. They started opening the door, as if the door would break in a few moments. I was very nervous. What will happen to me? I got up and looked at the window. There was no one there. I tried to climb up the window. I opened the window and looked out of it. It was very high. I was very nervous. I did not know what to do. Then I heard Michael's voice. He said, "Hey, Lucas opened the door. Why aren't you let us in?" My heart was about to stop. I did not know what happened. I felt dizzy. I was lying under my bed. I was nervous and scared. I was thinking that it was my end, but after a while I heard the police siren. They had come. As soon as I heard the police siren, I heard the 4 people outside my room running. Mr. Michael and 3 of his friends were trying to run at full speed. They had left the house. As soon as the police entered, I told them which way to run. The police started running towards them. As soon as the police entered, they ran towards the forest. The police caught Mr. Michael, but 3 of his friends had already left. They caught Mr. Michael. You will not believe. As soon as I went down, what I saw in that circle I will never forget it. My parents' picture was in that circle. Why? Mr. Michael and his friends. What were they doing with my parents' picture? Were they doing black magic? Did they want to kill them? These questions still haunt me, and they will trouble me all my life.
I think I was 15 or 16 years old when my parents left me alone and went out of the village for some work. Yes, you can call it a village. It was a small town where there were only a few houses, and we were very happy there. I was a lover of movies and cartoons. I took that day as my chance and started preparing myself to watch a movie on TV. My parents had left the house. I quietly went upstairs to my room to get some food. I quietly turned on the TV in the hallway and started watching the Netflix show. I grabbed a slice of pizza, grabbed a cold drink, put cubes in it, and started watching the show. I was very happy. I was having a lot of fun. I was alone at home. No one was disturbing me. And even if someone called me, I didn't have the courage to get up because I was very lazy. I think after half an hour of watching the show, I heard the sound of someone knocking on the door. At first, I ignored it and thought that whoever it was would leave, but I didn't feel like getting up. But as soon as I heard the sound again, I thought that there must be an emergency outside. I went to the door and opened it without opening the door, because there was a door outside the door that used to work as a storm breaker. You must know that it is called a net door. If I had opened the door, it would have been locked. I asked who it was, but there was no voice from the outside. I was surprised that someone had been knocking on the door for so long and now no one was answering. Anyway, I opened the door and the net door was still closed. When I looked outside, I was very surprised. That scene was very scary and mind-blowing. Who believes that around 11 o'clock at night, some children must be playing outside your house? It is very difficult to believe this. I agree with this. But yes, some children were playing outside my house. There were 2 boys and 1 girl. It was so dark that I could not see their faces properly, but they were jumping around. Their voices were also like a drum. I was surprised to see them, although they looked younger than me. I was 16 or 15 years old at that time. They looked like 9 or 10-year-old children. I have to understand this. Anyway, I raised my voice and asked, "Hey kids, what are you doing here? Where are your parents?" They didn't look at me. I asked again, "Hey kids, are you listening?" They all stopped outside. They were not looking at me. The way they left their game, the way someone disturbed them, the way someone snatched their food. They were looking down in despair. And I felt that they were angry. They were digging the ground. I was watching this. I raised my voice again. "Hey kids, can you hear me?" After this voice, one of them looked at me like he would kill me. He looked at me so angrily, and he screamed in a loud voice. As soon as he screamed, my whole body started shaking. I started shivering. When I heard his voice, I started panicking. I immediately closed the door, and I ran inside my hallway and sat on the floor. I was very nervous. Are these children? Was it another creature? I really didn't think they were children. I was watching all this. What is happening to me? And I felt that they were still outside. I immediately got up. I picked up my cell phone and called my parents, but their number was switched off. I called the police, and I told them that what are the children doing in this neighborhood at 11 in the night? Please come here soon. And I picked up the curtain from the window and looked at it quietly, but there was no one there. Now where did those children go? But as soon as I took 2 steps back, I heard a scream again. Not just one scream, but I heard some screams and laughter. Were they trying to scare me? But whatever it was, I was really scared. I was scared. Because it was very strange. It was very abnormal. Why would you do this at 11 in the night? They also screamed. I was so scared that I couldn't understand what to do. I sat quietly on my sofa. I turned off the TV. And I sat like I was waiting for my death. I was sitting there, and those sounds had stopped, as if everything had stopped, as if a storm comes and goes. Everything was quiet. I was waiting for the police. And then I heard their voice. The police had come. They knocked on my door. I was scared again, but I confirmed that it was the police. They told me to open the door. I opened the door and an officer came in. He asked me what had happened. I told him everything. And he went back and searched the entire building, but he didn't find anyone. I still don't understand. What had happened to me that day? That night, my parents also came back home, and they gave me hope. I was very scared. And I was very happy when they came back home, as if I was going to die, but I still get confused while thinking about it. I get worried. What were those kids doing in that locality at 11 in the night? And what did they try to do to me?